So who will be Donald Trump's VP pick? Well, it's obviously all speculation at this point, but here's some of the names that have been floated. First of all, we have Chris Christie. Wow. So Christie recently made a deal with Donald Trump. Remember how he was attacking Trump, and he said, I'd never vote for him, or I don't think he could beat Hillary Clinton. He said all these things when he was in the race. And then when he dropped out, like 8 seconds later, you see him standing behind him in a press conference like a little bitch with that look on his face like... So, you want to talk about a guy who's a political opportunist and a narcissist. Well, Chris Christie was like, what are the political winds doing? He's feeling him. He's like, okay, they're going for Trump. Oh, God, Donald Trump? I love Donald Trump. What are you guys talking about? Me and him made a deal behind closed doors, and now I'll be his little bitch boy. So, I don't know, though. So Chris Christie's one of the ones that's being floated, but he may be considered for attorney general or something else. No matter what, it's horrible. Chris Christie is a joke of a human being. But it is also possible he's VP because the classic political strategist idea is your VP is your attack dog. So your VP is supposed to be more aggressive than you and is supposed to make the case in a really, fervent, ferocious way. But the thing with Trump is he doesn't know dick about politics, so perhaps the strategists don't either. So they might not know that. Or Trump might be such a fucking alpha male and his ego might be so big that he can't stand somebody else that possibly comes along and might steal his thunder. And Chris Christie has the potential to do that. In fact, I had said before the election that Chris Christie, I thought he would have a decent chance, better than most people thought, in a Republican primary because he has that faux straight shooter thing going on. And when he finally cut loose towards the end of his campaign, when he went after Rubio, for example, he really showed that if he had done that all along, he would have actually been a force to contend with. Probably not win, but, he would have done much better in the polls, and he would have, perhaps surpassed a lot of the other idiots on the stage. So the first one being floated is Chris Christie. Now, yesterday at night, some news broke that Trump said he would consider Ted Cruz. If he picks Ted Cruz, that would be an epically stupid pick. Because regardless of what people are saying, Donald Trump actually gets evangelical votes more than Ted Cruz. And that's Ted Cruz's appeal. Ted Cruz's appeal is supposed to be, the crazy evangelicals. But if Trump is beating him where he has appeal, well, then why would you bring on Ted Cruz? You're not going to bring in any extra voters because of Cruz. Or the ones who you do are just the media personalities who lost their shit, like Glenn Beck and people like that. So there's no benefit to bringing on Cruz. And actually, if Cruz comes on, I've said before, in an election between Trump and Hillary, I'm actually scared of Trump. So I would say that's a coin flip election, even though the polls, go back and forth. Some have Trump leading by a little bit. Others have Hillary winning in a landslide. I think that's like a 50-50 thing. But if you introduce Cruz into the situation, I actually think that there's a much better chance that Hillary wins. Because Cruz is such a profoundly unlikable person that you go from, people not wanting to vote for Hillary to just wanting to vote against Cruz and a Cruz-Trump ticket. I actually don't think that the feeling among the Democratic base is that we must vote against Trump. I don't think that, because half the time Trump says things that the Democratic base goes, yeah, like money in politics, Social Security, free trade deal, stuff like that. So they don't really want to vote against Trump. But if you add Cruz on the ticket, then it's much more likely they'll want to vote against that ticket, because Cruz, there's nothing somebody in the Democratic base dislikes more than Ted Cruz. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. It would be a terrible pick. All right, the next one is Newt Gingrich. So Newt Gingrich has been a rare voice on Fox News and in other media outlets defending Trump for a long time now. When, there's been a lot of other people, many right-wing personalities have kind of gotten behind Cruz. Others have been just, lukewarm on Trump. Gingrich has kind of been defending him the entire time. And Gingrich is actually, behind the scenes, he's like a weaselly but effective politician. He was the Speaker of the House, and he's a smart dude. I disagree with him on everything, policy-wise, but you could tell, he's sharp. So it's possible that Trump, because deep down he might know that he doesn't know dick about politics, he might bring on somebody like Newt Gingrich, because Newt Gingrich knows everything. And, you know, I don't think, like, Gingrich wouldn't judge Trump if Trump's like, what, like, okay, talk to me about different policy stuff. He wouldn't judge him because he's such a go-getter and somebody who wants to get ahead in his career, and he's such a narcissist, and he has his own ego issues that he might be fine with Trump knowing dick because he's there and he just wants some more glory. Like when he ran for president and actually didn't do horribly. He came in like second or third in one of the races. So he's in consideration. But then again, you might also have the same issue I brought up before, which is that Trump's ego could go the other way, where Trump thinks, like, just like he potentially could with Chris Christie, like, oh no, this guy might outshine me, because Gingrich has that potential. So if that's the case, he might go, well, I'm the alpha male. I need somebody who doesn't challenge me at all. So he might go in a different direction. The third one is Mike Huckabee. Again, that would be a stupid pick, because Mike Huckabee, he appeals to evangelicals. Trump already gets evangelicals in large numbers. Doesn't make any sense to pick him, but he might pick him simply because Mike Huckabee, ever since he got out of the race, I mean, he's gotten down on two knees to service Trump. So he might just like him. And actually, Huckabee is the most likable guy of the ones I just named. Again, I disagree with him on policy completely, but he's like the jolly fat guy, basically, to a lot of people in the Republican Party. And Trump might just like him, so he could go in that direction. Mary Fallon is the other one. She's the governor of Oklahoma, and she's so extreme she tried to carry out death sentences despite court orders saying she couldn't. Trump might love somebody like that and go for somebody who is a little bit more low profile. And then I love this one, Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst is an Iowa senator, most known for her ad we covered on the show where she, like, castrates a pig. It's like, time for me to go to Washington and cut the pork, just like I cut off the dicks of these cows and the ball sacks. I cut ball sacks of pigs. I'm Joni Ernst. Nothing with policy. Just like, like, you know, that folksy appeal, like, oh yeah, I'm a farmer. I don't know dick about policy, but vote for me. She won. So Trump might go in that direction because in Trump's mind, and this is important too, he might think like, oh, we need to counteract the fact that Hillary's a woman, because that obviously is helping Hillary tremendously. So let's go in the direction of getting a woman. Or he could also do Ben Carson. It's like, oh, we need some sort of minority to counteract the fact that she's a woman, so bring in Ben Carson. But the thing about Ben Carson is he was just picked to head up his VP committee, and that leads me to believe he's less likely to actually be the VP, but Trump might go in that direction anyway. And furthermore, there's one other story in history of the person picked to lead up the VP committee becoming the vice president, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was supposed to be the person who picks the VP and looks for it for George Bush, and then Cheney, the conniving bastard he is, went to Bush and was like, me, I'm perfect, pick me. And Bush like, oh, okay, Dick. Nothing could go wrong here. You're not going to want to invade a country and kill hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. Well, it's, Ben Carson is not as conniving as Dick Cheney was, but perhaps Trump goes in that direction anyway. So we'll see. These are just some names that are being floated. But with Donald Trump, I kid you not, who knows who the fuck he picks? Guys, there's a chance he picks fucking Judge Judy. There's a chance he picks Bobby Knight. So it's Donald Trump. You never fucking know. Omarosa could be his VP. Who the fuck knows? Nobody knows.